Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your f***ing cloud, it be raining now. I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now.
You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to your Tuesday night edition of Unscripted, live here on, of course, the All Sports All Plays Network and all of our social medias at Unscripted. I'm going to be your host and producer while our boy Jay McLovin is out of town, currently packing his things up and moving back to the big old state of Texas. And joining me, as always, is my boy, Chris Gonzo Gonzales. How you doing, man? How was your Easter weekend, and how was your wrestling show?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Had a good weekend. Spent the whole weekend doing wrestling shows. Done one Saturday, a big show, about 500 people there. And then on Easter, we went to another show that had probably about 100 people there. But they had an Easter egg hunt for the kids before the show, and a bunch of kids showed up for that, and then had a good day of wrestling. So it was good Easter weekend.
Yeah, it went good for me. Went to go see some family, got some good food, and like I said, getting back in the swing of things now. And like I said, we had a lot going on over the weekend. We're going to touch on as much of that as we can. But of course, before we get into things, though, like I said, we go live Tuesday and Thursday, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time at night. Saturday, 1 o'clock. And of course, you can check us out on all social media platforms as we see here. Update the graphic to make it look a little bit nicer. You got Unscripted Guys on Twitter, TikTok, Unscripted Sports, Facebook, of course, at Unscripted, and on YouTube at Unscripted Sports as well. Like I said, we have a lot to cover. Our guy, Billy Buzz Smith, chiming in early, saying, hello, guys. How you doing? Billy, how was your Easter weekend? And also, Chris, as you know, we are looking for a new network name. Yes, we've been discussing this. We've been saying, look, we need help, though, Chris. We've tried to come up with a few names, and some are good, some not so good, but we really just want to have the fans involved. So if you have a suggestion for a name of a network, please drop it in the comments. And what we're going to do is, after some allotted amount of time, no timetable on that yet, but once we get some good names in there, we're going to have a poll we're going to put up on all social media, and however long that poll is going to run for, we'll figure it out and let you know, of course. And whichever one gets the most votes, Chris, that is the name we're going to go with. And, of course, whenever we make any announcements or any adjustments, we will let the fans know. But we have a lot coming down the pipeline, man, a lot going on this year. But let's get into it, Chris. We got some good stuff to talk about. Of course, we know in Augusta we had the Masters this past weekend. Had some rain in the area, had it pushed back a little bit longer. So we have Jon Rahm winning the 87th annual Masters tournament. Did you check any of this out? Did you see any highlights? What did you think about this one?
I watched a lot of it on Thursday and Friday, and then I didn't get to watch as much Saturday. Well, I watched a little bit Saturday before we left, and before play got suspended. I didn't get to watch any of it on Sunday at all, but I was keeping track of it because Jon Rahm was actually the pick I gave out on my sports betting show. So I was keeping track of it a little bit just because of that. Plus, I've always been a big fan of the Masters. I've watched it for a long time, and it was kind of, it looked like Koepka had everything under control, and then on Sunday, they played basically, I think, like 27 holes or something like that because they were on like hole 6 or 7 when it got suspended on Saturday. So you had to finish round 3 and then play round 4, and Koepka, I think, shot 2 or 3 over.
Yeah, and in round 4, he shot 3 over. And meanwhile, for Rahm, he shot 3 under. So, that is a tale of two players right there. And honestly, though, Chris, through the first couple of days, it looks like Koepka had a good way to get the win in that one. He looked real strong.
Yeah, he did. Logan, I'll be right back.
Yep, go right ahead, man. So yeah, while Chris takes a sabbatical real quick, let me go in here with Billy. He said, Gonzo, I found out why the Blue Jays haven't played a home game yet. They were under renovations. All right, so Billy, if you can do me a favor, what renovations were they doing? Something to the roof? Were they doing something to the park? That's interesting, though. They're about 10 games in, I believe, in the season, and they have yet to have a home game. So thanks for that. And Frankie, I'm not putting that up on the screen. Come on, you know. You can check it out on Facebook. You want to see what Frankie had to say. But going back to what John Rahm had to do here with the Masters this past week and get the win. Like I say, shot 3 under in the 4th round, got the win. All in all, in total, he shot 12 under to get the win in this one. Koepka fell apart though. But I think one of the real stories that we were all talking about is just how Phil Mickelson was able to really just turn back the clock and have a really good showing in that 4th round. One of the older players in this tournament, Chris, and he shot 7 under in round 4. Did Phil Mickelson looked really well, and if he had another day, he might have got the win in this one. He was looking really sharp when it came up clutch, man. But like I said, tied for second, not too bad at all. How did you think that the lefty did?
Oh, he looked good on Sunday from the highlights I saw. Like I said, I didn't see to watch him. If he could have just started the tournament off a little bit better, he might have won the tournament the way he was playing on the weekend.
Honestly, man, he did really well, and there was some controversy about how the PGA was letting live players into this tournament. We've seen that some people were for it, some were against it. What did you think? Did you think that they should have the live golfers in here, or that they should have just kind of kept it exclusive?
I like that the live golfers are in there. I mean, if these guys had qualified to be in the Masters, and the Masters is supposed to be a showcase of the best golfers in the world, so why not have all the best golfers there, not just some of them? So
yeah, I'm with you on that. I think too, a lot of people were just kind of upset about the political motivation, which obviously we're not going to get into. But if you know about what all was going on, you know. But like I said, it was fine for it, and I mean, Phil Mickelson, a guy who was no longer with the PGA Tour, who was over at Live, is Brooks Koepka, is he still in the PGA, or did he move over as well? I kind of lose track.
I think he's with Live now as well.
Yeah, so let me double check that real quick. Let me fact check it and see. Yes, he is also in Live. So I mean, Chris, you had 2 of the top 3 finalists here in a different promotion. So we'll see. I know some of the PGA guys are, I'm sure, not too thrilled about that. But hey, it is what it is. And also, once again, congratulations to John Rahm. Just realized there's no H in his first name. So we'll take that out and put a W in there instead for him. Also, Frankie chiming in saying the Yankees were down 2-0 in the first. Now they're up 8-2 in the 4th. Actually, Frank, I have that game on in the background right now for MLB TV. So I've been watching all that, man. It's been home runs and left and right, man.
Your damn Braves beat the Reds in extra innings last night.
Oh, Chris, I know you were upset about that, man.
That's 2 games this weekend, or one over the weekend and yesterday that the Reds could have won and have let slip through their hands.
Yeah, no doubt. And man, what a good way to get your first home run in with a new team was Sean Murphy, right? Walk-off home run, getting the win. But like I said, we got game 2 tonight. We'll see how that goes. And like I said, we got bragging rights on the line early on for me and you, buddy. So we'll see how that continues. Let's keep moving here. Going on to some little hockey. Boston Bruins, they set a new NHL wins record. Now, this is, of course, we know Frankie's team. I know he's going to chime in saying, "Oh, I've been telling y'all the whole season they were going to do this." You know how he is. We know how he is. But he's not wrong, man. This team's looked really sharp. And obviously, they set a new record for the most wins in the regular season so far. What were your thoughts on this, man? You think the real question, I think, because we saw this with the Warriors a couple seasons ago, and also Frankie said a good point here too. They set the points record as well. So, which I mean, those kind of tie in together as well. But we saw it with the Warriors, got the most wins in the regular season, but they couldn't pull it off in the playoffs. So do you think Boston can carry this momentum into the playoffs, or do you think that they've kind of just run out of steam going into the NHL playoffs here coming up soon?
I think they're going to be able to carry the momentum in. They've been one of the hottest teams all season, and they haven't showed really no signs of letting up. I guess you have to worry a little bit. Did they use too much of their energy in the regular season? I get, I mean, when it get deeper in the playoffs, but
Right.
they got such a good team. I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, they look really good, man. And the thing is that obviously, just got to stay healthy. You don't want any freak injuries before the playoffs happen.
Yeah.
And looking at the standings, just because we haven't updated the standings here on the show in quite some time, just for our teams. So as we know, Frankie with the Boston Bruins, they're up top, obviously. 63 wins, 12 losses on the season, 131 points. That is just insane. And then obviously, let's see, we got your guys with the Columbus Blue Jackets, Chris. Let me see if we can find them. Currently 24-47 on the season, only 56 points. Not a good year, my friend.
They're not very good.
Let's see. Let's go with Jay with the. Let's go over to Jay McLovin with the Dallas Stars. Looking solid, all in all, 45-21 on the year, 104 points. Currently tied almost in three ways, man. In the Central Division, it's tough out there. Got the Avalanche at 104, Stars also at 104, and then Avalanche, Stars, and then the Wild at 102. So right on them. So that's a tough race there. And then going back to my team, my de facto team, since I don't have a team in Atlanta anymore. So Rockwood, Carolina. Right now they're in first in the Metropolitan. 50-21, 109 points, just 1 point ahead of the Devils and 2 points ahead of the New York Rangers. So once again, shout out to the Bruins. We'll see how they can continue their hot streak going into the playoffs. And that's the thing too, is that for me, I really get the urge to kind of go and at least watch a few hockey games during the playoffs, just because the intensity you see is just ramped up to 1,000.
Oh yeah, I don't watch much hockey on TV, but I love going and watch hockey live. Hockey live is just the atmosphere is awesome. I watch like the playoffs on TV, but like regular season games, I don't watch a whole lot. I'll watch a little bit here and there. Actually, I'm watching a little bit of Toronto and Tampa Bay right now.
Well, there we go.
What I have up on TV, but to go watch live, like we'll go watch. We have a team here in Indianapolis, not an NHL team, but a minor league team.
Right.
We go watch it. We go watch them a couple, maybe I don't know, 2-3 times a year, sometimes more. It's a good time.
Yeah, and I mentioned we don't have Atlanta. Obviously, doesn't have a NHL team anymore, but we do have a minor league team in the ECHL, the minors, with the Atlanta Gladiators, who I believe who are they with now? Okay, so they're affiliates with the Arizona Coyotes right now. I think they were previously with the Bruins. But so yeah, I went to a few games. It's been a while, been about 2 years maybe, but I need to go back and just check it out, because it's one of those things where it really is just different to watch it live than as opposed to TV. Baseball, that's kind of one thing you obviously, beside the park experience, but in terms of just the on the field play, you can really see just how much of a difference it is in person as opposed to on the TV.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Frankie's putting in. He said, "I need to be a champion again bad." He's had a drought of 5 years, I think, since the last time the Patriots got one.
He hasn't even had any hard times yet. He needs to go through some hard times.
I'm about to say the Yankees are going on over 10 years now, so I can understand that. But I mean, come on. I mean, the Bruins, I can't remember the last time they got one. The Patriots, I'm not even going to bring them up, man. That's been only 5 seasons. I forgot the Lakers in 2020. It's only been 2 years. Actually 3. So
yeah,
Frankie
went through no hard times yet.
I was about to say he's not Dusty Rhodes, Chris. He hasn't went through no hard times. Yeah, but I say Yankees has been 09 was their last one, so that's been going on, I think 12 years, 13.
Reds haven't won one since 90.
I'd say Atlanta got one in 21. So, and then as we know, Houston got one last year. So that is how our teams are rocking.
Colts got one in 2006. That's the first time I've had a championship.
There you go. All right, let's keep moving on, man. Like I said, we usually keep these show kind of brief whenever Jeff does. We just fly through things. We don't dilly-dally around like our like someone else who runs the production. Frankie saying 13 years to be exact. All right, MV. I think you want to just give a little brief synopsis, Chris. We'll just talk real short about this, and then we'll go deeper into this whenever we have the whole crew back on board with Frankie or with Jay, because I want to get their opinions on it also. But NBA regular season, it wraps up. It's already wrapped up. We have the play-in games tonight, which I guess are technically in the playoffs.
I don't count them as playoffs.
Yeah.
Playoffs start Saturday.
He said Frankie's like with Jay slow. You said so. Frankie's got Embiid. Like I said, so that's his short answer. So Chris, we'll kind of make this a two-parter. First off, we'll talk about the MVP. Then we'll give a quick just prediction for the two play-in game, or actually, I guess the 4 play-in games we have coming up soon. So who do you have as your MVP? Are you gonna stick with Jokic, who's been the favorite for pretty much the whole season? Giannis, who's been steady throughout, or Embiid, who's really kind of made a really good run here in the last couple of weeks?
I still have Jokic as the MVP. He's been so consistent all season. I know Embiid had, like you said, has turned it up here the last month of the season or so, and he's had a great season, but he's really been on fire here as of late. I mean, Jokic he's had a better season than he did the last 2 years that he's won MVP.
Yeah.
So I mean, so it's hard for me not to pick him. But I'd have Embiid right behind Jokic, and I'd have Giannis in third.
Billy said, "Where's Jay?" Billy Jay is out. He's on a sabbatical. He'll be back later in the month. I forget the exact date, but he'll be out for about a week or two potentially. He is packing up and moving back to Texas. So a lot of big stuff going on for him. We're happy for him, though. I know he's been pumped about this move for a while. So Jay's gone for a little bit, but we will be filling in for him, of course. For me, I'm right there with you, man. I've got Jokic still as my pick just because he's looked so good the whole year. You know, he hasn't slowed down. He doesn't miss a whole lot of games. And obviously, you know, the Nuggets have had a really good year. They've been first in the West what feels like the entire season since game 1. But meanwhile, like I said, you could also throw in there with Giannis, who I feel like doesn't get as much attention maybe as these other two guys. But, I mean, the Bucks have the best record in the NBA right now, 58-24. Yeah. So, I mean, they've looked really sharp, obviously, with him leading the team. And then with Embiid, I mean, a respectable third place in the East, 54-28, so only 4 games behind in the Eastern Conference. Still a really good season. But in terms of individual play, like you said, he's really just kind of stepped it up. But I really think what's going to hurt him, though, Chris, and I know it's hard to base performances off of like one game, but I really think it hurt him by not playing in that game against Jokic, I believe, last week.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that really that might have soured some voters. Which, I mean, he came out afterwards saying, you know, he's like, I don't care about the MVP. I just want a ring. Which, you know, respect, all for that. But, I mean, come on, man. It's a guy who is unfortunately known for missing games, whether it's for injuries or rest or whatnot. But this was one of the biggest games on the season, even before the year started. And these guys had incredible years. I mean, this would have been a phenomenal matchup, I feel. And it's just a shame that we didn't get to see it. Because Embiid did choose to sit out that one. But it is what it is. So I've still got Jokic getting my MVP vote if I was a certified voter. Embiid, like I say, Jokic number 1. I'll put Embiid number 2, and then Giannis. I honestly, though, Chris, I think this is going to be one of the tightest races we've seen in quite some time. Because you can argue for any of these guys, like realistically. Yeah. You can put up really valid arguments as to why each of these guys could win.
Yeah, and I just worry that some voters won't vote for Jokic just because they don't like giving it to guys 3 times in a row.
That is a thing too. But I mean, if he's proven to be head and shoulders above everyone else, I mean it wouldn't make sense.
I don't think it should matter. I don't think it should matter, but to some of them voters, you've heard that before.
Well, also too. I mean, realistically, right? In the late 2000s, early 2010s, mid 2010s, whatever. I mean, LeBron obviously was the best player in the league, bar none. Yeah. But he didn't win it every single year, so it wouldn't surprise me if they give it to someone else. But I think Jokic is going to grab it.
You could go back even in the 90s. There was years Jordan didn't win the MVP, and it's like and everybody knew he was still the best player in the league.
Yeah, you got a good point. Billy's saying, all right, cool beans. Yep. So, Billy, you can hang out with us for these next few weeks. And Frankie saying Logan's happy he gets Atlanta by himself again. Yeah, I feel you on that, man. All right, Chris, let's kick this into part 2. We got the playing games coming up. just about an hour. Actually, it might be on their way now. Let me get the
Uh,
schedule here. So obviously,
three
the
games
games we
on
got
right now.
today, we got Miami and Atlanta, and then we got Minnesota and the Los Angeles Lakers at 10 o'clock tonight. So who do you think is going to win these ones?
What's left of Minnesota?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's bring up this Hawks and Heat battle. Obviously, two teams who know each other very well, playing the same division. Atlanta finished right at 500 on the year, 41-41. Miami slightly better by a couple of games. So who do you think takes this one? Do you have the team who a lot of people have said, they struggled in the regular season, kind of let down in terms of their performance, but they always seem to pick it up in the playoffs with the Heat? Or do you think the Hawks, who had that really good run 2 seasons ago with Trae Young and company, do you think they can rekindle some of that magic and go on another run and get the win in this one?
Tell you what, this was a hard one because neither one of these teams have been like real consistent. They'll look good and then they'll play bad, and they haven't been able to like consistently be at the high level. But I went with the Hawks actually today.
All right.
When I gave out my pick on my show, I took the Hawks plus in the 5 points. But I think the Hawks win the game. I just think they've been a little bit more consistent. I know record wise it don't show, but I just think play wise and I think they're a little healthier than what Miami's been for most of the season.
Hey, you can really say they are consistent record-wise, man. They had that streak of going like 26 games. They were 13-13. I mean, they finished the year at 500, not one game above, not one game below. The thing that worries me about Atlanta, and just kind of watching their games throughout the year, is are they good on offense? Of course, I think they're a top 10 team in offense in terms of stats-wise. But in terms of defense, though, Chris, they are bottom 10. Probably maybe bottom 5, but we'll see. Sometimes, especially in these 1-game playoffs, if you have a hot hand, that'll get you the win, as opposed to that tightening defense you need in a 7 or 5-game series. So of course I'm going to go with Atlanta. I have to with this one, but it would not shock me if they go out just kind of if they lose, it's just kind of going to be just a disappointing year. But if they win, at least I can hang my cap on that one. But let's move on over to the West with the Minnesota Timberwolves and, like you said, what's left of that team, and the Los Angeles Lakers. So who do you have with that one? Do you think the Timberwolves can pull it out and shock the world with their depleted roster? Or do you have the veterans with LeBron and AD getting the win in the Western play-in game?
I have the Lakers winning this game, but they had them like as 8.5 point favorites. And
really?
I didn't like that spread, so it wasn't a pick I gave out today. But if I'm just picking who I think will win the game, it'd be the Lakers. For one, Minnesota missing Gobert, I wasn't as worried about, just because if you look at some of their stats, they actually have played a little bit win-loss wise. They've played better. They've won more games when they played better without him. But losing McDaniels hurts them because he's one of their better defenders. And if you look at some of the stats I saw yesterday, LeBron James, when he was been guarded by that McDaniels, is only shooting like 25-30%. When he's guarded by anybody else on Minnesota's team, he's shooting over 50%.
Oh wow!
And he was out because he decided to punch a wall.
Yeah, and just punch a wall out of frustration. Obviously, the situation that happened the other night with Kyle Anderson and Rudy Gobert. They got into it. Gobert, I say punched, but let's be real, you hit him in the chest, maybe the shoulder.
It's more like he nudged him.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's like whenever you're playing with your friend, you punch him in the shoulder. It's kind of like that, right? But it wasn't what he was intending for, just with how he lunged at him. So then that led to Taurean Prince shoving Gobert, Chris, in a aggressive manner. I feel like that one had more of an impact than the punch did. And then obviously, that led to then Jade McDaniels wasn't a fan of the situation, punched a wall, broke his hand, which I don't understand it, Chris. I don't understand it, Chris. We've seen this, feels like every year, at least in one sport, where a guy gets upset, punches a wall, breaks their hand, and hurts their team. Doesn't matter if it's baseball, football, basketball, hockey. It happens far too often.
You're not going to hurt that brick.
No, every time you fight up against that brick, the brick is going to win. And we all know who Frankie's got here. Frankie, drop a final score. I want to see what you got for a final score.
But I do have the Lakers. I think
Yeah.
they're going to be too much for them.
Yeah, I mentioned briefly with the Heat having kind of turning into a different team whenever they go in the playoffs. I mean, that's just LeBron's whole career, for the most part, is he just becomes a 30, 40-point machine in these playoffs, man. And with AD, if he's healthy, I mean, we know he's looked honestly though, Chris, if Anthony Davis would have stayed healthy and played as well as he played this year, he probably would have gotten some MVP, at least in the talks. But unfortunately, he was out for a while. So, and like I said, I think the additions they had at the trade deadline, that really helped turn this team around and obviously get them in this position. As for Minnesota, I mean, they are depleted. There's a few guys out. Obviously, Gobert got suspended, so he will not be in this game. We know that McDaniels, he will not be there either. Do we know? I don't know if Kyle Anderson is going to be in this game. Let me see real quick if ESPN lists.
I think he's playing.
Okay, so Gobert and McDaniels, both of them are out. For doubtful, we have Jalen Noel and Karl Anthony Towns is also doubtful. I haven't heard about that. Does he have an injury or something nagging him?
I didn't know about that. So I'm not sure.
Well, I don't understand. Well, okay, it also says for the Lakers, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, and LeBron James, they're also doubtful for some reason. But I don't know
They're
about
playing. They're playing.
Yeah, but I think ESPN needs to refresh their pages on that, because I know those guys ain't hurt. So Frankie's got a final score. Lakers 123-106 getting the W in this one. And Chris, you said they're an 8 or 9 point favorite in this?
There was 8.5.
8.5. I mean, Frankie's got to win by 16, 17. So he's got a little good blowout going there. All right, he said everyone is playing even cat. Okay, so I just wanted to. So ESPN, get your intern or whoever's out there and get them refresh that page, and so they don't deceive us like they did. And then Chris, we'll briefly talk about these because these are tomorrow's games. Chicago and Toronto, two teams who are just hanging on there. And also in the West, we got Oklahoma City, the young team, going up against the New Orleans Pelicans. So who do you have winning those matchups? We'll go with Toronto and Chicago up first.
I think Toronto is going to beat Chicago. I just like Toronto on the defensive end, and without Chicago really having a true point guard right now, I think they could have some trouble with the Raptors' defense.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Raptors too. I mean, they have a good team. I mean, they have a lot of young guys. You got Van Fleet, you got Siakam. He's been doing his thing. So, and as for the Bulls, I mean, like I said, they've been out of Lonzo's been out forever, unfortunately. They got Levine, who's been doing his thing, but a lot of teams, he's just in a weird situation. So I'm gonna go with Toronto. I think that in terms, I like Nick Nurse as a coach. So I'm gonna go with Toronto getting the win in that one. Then in the West, we got Oklahoma City taking on New Orleans. Who do you have going with that one?
Man, that was a tough one, but I think I'm gonna go with Oklahoma City. I just like the way that Gilchrist-Alexander's been playing and kind of leading that OKC team. And with the Pelicans, it all depends on which McCollum shows up. If he can play consistent, they could be pretty tough even without Williamson. But if McCollum isn't consistent, Pelicans will struggle.
Yeah. And then Zion is obviously going to be out for this game, for what it seems. But I think we have a really good showing. I think that Brandon Ingram has a really good playoff performance. We've seen him do it before. So I'm going to go with him getting a pretty big game for New Orleans getting win this one. So I'm going to go with them over the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have looked really good. I mean, let's be real here, Chris. I mean, this is a team who no one thought was even going to get close to the playoffs, who might have been a bottom 5 team. Just because they are, I believe, the youngest team in the league in terms of median age. With Giddey, with Shea, and a bunch of other guys, and also too, Chris. I mean, I feel like even if they get knocked out, I mean, I feel like this was a successful season for them. And plus, they're getting Chet Holmgren, who he's been out for the whole season. They're getting him back next year, and I mean, plus they've got what feels like 46 draft picks over the next 5 years. So Oklahoma City's in a good position, but we'll see how they can do. We got some comments in from Sports Steady TV, talking a little bit later on in these playoffs. He said the Kings in 5 over the Warriors. You know what that is, Chris? I'm going to have to throw that one up there. A hot take. Because, and don't get me wrong, the Warriors have been rough this year, especially on the road. And the Kings have shocked everyone's expectations. Chris, they're playing their first game on ABC for the first time since 2007. It's been far too long since this team's been relevant. I'm glad for it. But I think, I'm not going to give away my predictions yet, but I think it does go 6. Just because, come on, it's the Warriors. They have a very solid coach team, good lineup, and, they are getting oh God, what's his name? Andrew Wiggins. He's coming back, which will help them. So I think it goes 6, but I'm not going to say who wins what yet. Also, he chimes in saying 76ers were 11-5 without Joel Embiid this season. Nuggets were 5-8 without Jokic. Jokic is the MVP. Oh, sorry. Jokic also plays more games than Embiid and Giannis. Jokic is the MVP. Case closed. And that is thanks to Sports Steady TV. Go check him out on Facebook. So, yeah, like I said, that is who we got. We're all in agreement. We got Jokic as the MVP still. We will see how it continues to play out. All right, going into some NFL news here, Chris. Odell Beckham Jr., a guy who we've been kind of just waiting in the wings for to sign, finally got a deal inked with the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, ? So how do you think he's going to do bouncing back? Obviously, he didn't play last year. Was injured his foot in the Super Bowl with the Rams. Do you think he's going to have a really good season, a solid season, or kind of a down season? And if Lamar is even the quarterback?
I think he'll have a solid season. It's just hard to judge what he's going to do, because I think over the last 2 years he's played a total of 12 games over the last 2 or 3 seasons. And when he was in the best he's been since he left the Giants was in Los Angeles, and he wasn't the number 1 or number 2 option. He was more like the 3rd option.
Now you got a good point.
Now you're coming off another surgery. You're going to Baltimore, and I guess you don't have to have him as your number 1, because they could still use Andrews as their number 1, kind of like the Chiefs do with Kelsey. So you can make Odell your number 2, but I still think they need another receiver, because I don't know if Odell has enough left in him to be a number 2 guy on a playoff team right now. We just haven't been able to see it because he hasn't played.
Right.
And that was the thing. Baltimore overpaid him, and a lot of it was Lamar was one of them that did recruit him over there. So I think this was something to try to make sure Lamar Jackson plays this year as well.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Frankie's saying I think he'll be a beast this year, and Lamar's the one who, of course, Lamar's the one who recruited him. Frankie, how many yards or how many touchdowns or both do you think he will get this season? You think he'll get over under a couple thousand, maybe a couple thousand, or?
I can't believe they paid him $15 million though, and
that's a lot of money.
It could end up being like 18.
I'm about to say it's a lot of money, but obviously I think that shows that they have a lot of trust in him, that they think that he is 100% healed from this foot injury, and they expect him to go back to doing what he was doing when he was healthy, making spectacular plays and being a playmaker out there on the offensive side for Baltimore. So
they really wanted him. They really wanted him because they paid him double what anybody else was going had offered him.
They did, and also obviously we didn't put a slide up for this one because it was noteworthy, but I don't know if it was main topic noteworthy. But Chris, did you see where the Atlanta Falcons made a trade today to pick up Jeff Okudah from the Detroit Lions? They gave up a 5th round pick in this year's draft. That was the terms there. They gave up a 5th rounder. Do you think that? Yeah. Do you think? I mean, I understand he's been hurt, but did you think this was a better deal for Atlanta or for Detroit?
Man, I don't know. It kind of surprised me. I wasn't expecting them to make that move.
Right.
And I haven't really looked into it. I would say probably, I don't know, maybe Atlanta. I'd probably favor Atlanta just because I think they're moving just younger as a whole.
Yeah, and Atlanta, obviously, they've made a lot of additions to their defense, which they desperately needed. Terry Fontenot, the GM, has been really wheeling and dealing this offseason, man. And just another piece here. I think that I don't know. I feel like I get that Okuda's been hurt. I don't think he played last season. But like I said, he hasn't lived up to his potential quite yet in the few years he's been in the league. But I feel that Atlanta kind of took a flyer on him. Like I said, it's only it's a fifth round pick. So I mean, it's a pick that has a decent amount of value, kind of, but not a large amount. So I mean, if you can get a guy who's going to be at least a decent corner to pair, with AJ Terrell and the rest, Jesse Bates, who they picked up, and a few other guys. I mean, I feel like Atlanta's at least they're trying, Chris. They're trying this year on defense, which you like to see. So Frankie chimes in talking about Odell. He predicts around 700 yards and about 4 to 6 touchdowns. Let's not forget Mark Andrews is that true go-to guy for Lamar, which that's what we were talking about a little bit earlier. So I mean that I feel like that's respectable for him coming off of a whole season missed. So we will see how Lamar and how Odell, how they can pair up this upcoming season. All right, Chris, and of course, as you know, the other night we had, we're talking about the NBA. Now let's flip over to the WNBA. They had the 2023 draft. Of course, your team, the Indiana Fever, had the number 1 overall pick, selecting Aaliyah Boston, the center from South Carolina. I mean, did you think that this was a good pickup for them? And like I said, unfortunately, it's always not good for your team to have the number 1 overall pick. I know Atlanta did last year, the dream. So we're kind of in that boat together, buddy. But I mean, did you think this was a good selection for the Fever?
Oh yeah, I thought it was a real good selection. I really like it. And then not only that, they also had the the
seventh pick. Yes, where they got Grace Berger from Indiana. So
from Indiana, and I think that's a great pick as well. So I think we got a lot better. And a lot of people I don't think realize because Fever only won like 5 games last year.
Right.
But we were starting 3 rookies last year, so the Fever was a young team, and then now you're going to add these 2 young players in there. It might take a season or 2, but I think they're moving in the right direction. I think Aaliyah Boston is going to be a big part of it.
Yeah, and looking at the rest of our teams here, obviously Jay with the Dallas Wings, they had 3 picks in the first round, back to back. So at number 3, they selected Maddie Siegrist, a guard from Villanova. This 4th pick from the Washington Mystics, they selected Stephanie Soares, a center from Iowa State. And with the number 5 selection, they picked up Lou Lopez Sinachal, a guard from UConn. For the Atlanta Dream, my team here, we got Haley Jones, number 6 overall, a guard/forward combo from Stanford. And also at number 8, they got Letitia Amahir, a center, also from South Carolina. So we both drafted some really talented females from that South Carolina school, which obviously they had a really good year this year. Rob Scott chiming in saying, "What's going on, brothers? Hope you're doing good, Rob. Hope you had a good Easter. Glad to see you chime in as well." Second round, we'll just kind of look through those real quick, just see what our team's got here, Chris. So for Indiana, you selected at number 13 because there's only a handful of teams in the first round. 13th overall, you got Taylor Mikesell, guard from Ohio State. Let's see. That's it for the second round for you. For Atlanta, they got Leah Brown, a guard from Michigan. You also got Chris, number 17, LaDasia Williams, a forward from LSU. And let's see, Jay got Ashley Jones, a forward from Iowa State. And then in round 3, the final round, you picked up Victoria Saxton, a forward from South Carolina, so dipping back in that college there. Let's see here. Sparks, Mercury, Lynx. Nope. Okay, yeah. So Jay with the Wings, they picked up Paige Robinson, a center from Illinois State. And that will round out, at least for our teams, for the WNBA 2023 draft. once again, congratulations to Aaliyah Boston going number 1 overall to the Indiana Fever. We will see how it goes. And of course, Chris, we try and at least incorporate a little bit of WNBA talk or even just women's college basketball on the show. Also, Sports Steady TV chiming in again with another good stat here. Odell, 2 ACL tears since 2020. Not expecting much for him. He'll be upset with Lamar by week 4 when he realizes the quarterback, won't get him the ball where he wants it. We will see how it goes this upcoming season with that, man. But, we'll see if Lamar's been either too busy trying to get a contract figured out or if he's been putting in some work off the field. Like you said, trying to maybe get that accuracy, those yards up this upcoming year. So it remains to be seen. And just like that, Chris, we have been just powering through this episode of Unscripted. Already got to final thoughts, man. So what do you have to say? Any final words before we get out of here for tonight?
I'm gonna watch a little bit of this NBA play-in, and hopefully, and then watch these Reds and Braves. But no offense, Logan, I'm hoping the Reds win tonight.
I'm the same way, Chris. I hope the Braves win tonight. So no hard feelings.
Watch some of that, and then don't forget this Saturday night we'll be live streaming AACW Championship Wrestling. Should be a real good show. Starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Saturday night. YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Gonzo Sports Room. So join us for that. And other than that, enjoy all the sports going on. You got NBA playoffs starting, baseball, hockey. So playoffs isn't too far away. So we got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. And let me see when the NHL playoffs start. So the NHL playoffs start May 2nd, so about 3 weeks away. Rob Scott chiming in saying, let's stop the Lamar slander. He's defending Lamar Jackson over there. And then Billy Buzz saying, hey, Hagen guys? Not sure what you mean there, Billy, but hello. We'll go with that. Like I said, of course, you guys can check us out. Of course, let me get this flipped over here. Follow us on social media. Twitter, Unscripted Guys. TikTok, Unscripted Sports. Facebook, just follow us at Unscripted. And, of course, on YouTube at Unscripted Sports as well. We go live as much as we can. This is episode number 330 on Facebook, on YouTube. You can check that on 7 o'clock Eastern on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Saturdays at 1. Like I said, go check us out over there. Go follow Facebook for all of our shows and a couple announcements also. Twitter, where Frankie's doing his thing over there, getting us out there. And on TikTok, where I'm posting content for pretty regularly. I wouldn't say daily, but for the most part, I get as much stuff out there. Here we go. Billy saying, have a good night. You don't know the lingo. Apparently I don't. I'm not. Maybe that's a new one, Chris. I'm not hip on that one. So I appreciate that, Billy. I'm getting a little education here tonight on this Tuesday. But like I said, check us out over there on social media. Also, if you have any suggestions for a new network name, we are open to any and all. Obviously, keep them clean, unlike what Frankie said earlier. But like I said, put it on our Facebook, our YouTube, or any of these social platforms you see here. Take them all into consideration, throw them in a hat, put them in a poll on our social media platforms, and let you, the fans, decide. Of course, also go follow the All Sports All Plays Network on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and all the other social medias that they have. Of course, go follow our boy Chris on all of his socials as well. Gonzo Sports Room, Gonzo Wrestling Room, and so many others. You got great interviews with wrestlers, with podcasters. Of course, your dad chiming in, doing his thing. And like I said, we have a lot of fun here on the show, but we have run out of time. We got through all of our topics, Chris, in a lightning quick pace. But like I said, we will see you again on another live episode of Unscripted coming up later on this week on Thursday. So check us out then, and we will see you in a later episode. Have a good night, everyone. As Billy says, HAGN.